Okay, I'm back. I've used the gold pen that I have and outlined the word love. I don't know if you can see it, kind of sparkly. And with the butterfly, I want to put some antenna on it. So I pulled out my gold wire. And I'm just going to cut a little piece. I want to use a pair of scissors, it doesn't really matter. So I have an older pair here. I'm not sure what kind of wire this is. It's something you make jewelry with. It's really old. It's probably like 30, 40 years old. Something my mom's had forever. And she gifted me some of her craft stuff a couple years back. The wire is really nice and fine. I want to crinkle the other side because the other one is crinkled as well. So I want them to be the same. Then add it on. There we go. Kind of pull them up so that they're, I'll make sure it doesn't get on my finger. Okay. I just want to curl these up, and the butterfly is kind of plain, so I want to add something to it as well. So I'm going to use the gold pen again. And I just want to color in some of these little dots just to kind of accentuate the design on it. Okay, get some more of that a little bit later. And I found some of the little gems, these little sparkly things to put on. They say to put them in sets of 3. So I'm just going to use regular glue for this. I like the Tombow Mono, the multi-glue, but it tends to give me some difficulty in coming out. And so I just end up going back to using just regular glue because it's easier to get out. I mean, it does get stuck in here and all, but it's easier to get out of here than it is out of that one. And don't need a lot of glue. To apply it, I generally just use a straight pin, put a dab on the back, and then lay it down. A lot of times that little dab helps to hold it on until you can lay it down. And need a little bit more. And I believe I'm going to need to add some more gold into this ATC in some way because just the outline is not going to be enough to accentuate. I have one pink one, but I don't think I want to put that one on there, so I'm going to put it away so I don't lose it. clean up my glue. Just generally stick it in some water. I have a mug of water and I just wash it off in there. Dry it with my towel. Okay. I'm just going to put some of this on too. Not sure where the end of it is. Here it is. And I'm not talented at all. If anything turns out, it's always purely accidental. There's just no real talent here. I think that's pretty much all I want to do, is just add that like this. But before I do that, I want to add some more gold. So I'm going to pull out my gold paint. And this thing that I have on the top, this is one of those furniture things that you put under the leg to stop it from scratching your floor, whatever. And I thought, well, they kind of look like those Tim Holtz blending tool things. They do not work the same. Maybe if I get enough ink in there where it's nice and smooth, but right now it still has that rough texture, so definitely not. But I thought, we'll just try it and see. Didn't work, and I even use this just as the tool itself, and it's stuck on there. Alright, let's get some gold on. I'm just going to edge this with some gold. I think first I'm going to edge it with some black, and then we'll do the gold. So I'm just going to add some dollops of the black. And then I'm going to paint over it with some gold. Make sure I get all the little bits on the edge. And whatever I get on this mat doesn't matter. I can always just wash it off. I think I got this at Aldi when I lived in Ohio, probably about 10 years ago. I'm not sure. I may have got it at Sam's Club. Just a cooking mat. But it comes in handy. It's silicone, so it withstands the heat when I'm using the heat tool, and puts up with all the abuse that I do on it. And I have the Ken Oliver craft mat over here, this gray one, and it works good if you're doing beading and stuff, and I like it, but the one problem I have is that hairs get stuck on it, and you just can't get the hairs off, and that's annoying when you're trying to clean it off and it's got stuff on you can't get off. I always have to take it straight to the sink and work on it. Okay. Now this is wicking the paper towel pretty good right here. And so I can tell this is in some areas where it didn't get the same coating of the acrylic gloss that I put on. This stuff is like Mod Podge, only it's the Daler Rowney brand. There we go. And it's okay that it's not what I had planned. It's still going to be pretty when I'm done with it. Okay. Clean up my fingers. The magic with using white over black is that sometimes it cleans up that bit of the black. I'm going to use my towel and get the Sharpie off of here. I don't want to get it on my threads that I'm going to be putting on. Okay. I'm going to use the white before I do the gold. Just kind of go over it. Every little detail that you add to your art just adds to it. It just makes it more unique, more interesting. And I have decided in this last month, instead of always trying to do everything what I would consider perfect, to just go for it. And by just going for it, you know, come up with some art that would not have happened otherwise. With always thinking everything has to be a certain way, that it has to be your idea of perfect. When you go that route, you can kind of miss out on some beauty that you create. And I always do what we're not supposed to do, which is compare my art, my craft, my ATCs, my cards, with what everybody else is coming up with. And I'm not them. I'm obviously not going to come up with exactly what they do. And nobody else is me, so nobody's going to come up with the kind of art that I do. And so that's my job. And as artists, we need to encourage one another to be unique and be different. Because by being different, we get ideas from each other. It'd be kind of boring if all of our art all looked exactly the same. Sameness has its place, but variety is truly the spice of life. We all like to have things different and unique. This kind of is soaking up the white marker in some places, or the white jelly roll, and so I'm going over to make sure that it's there, because the white is adding a really nice contrast to this. But it's working best where there was the acrylic. And it didn't, even though I put it everywhere, for some reason it didn't take. And it may be where that gesso is at, that it didn't go and stay applied on there. And that's why I'm getting a different look in this area. But that's okay, because we're just going to go over it until it does take. Alright. Now, that looks a lot better than it did before I put the black and the white. It was looking like a hot mess. Alright. Still looks like a hot mess, but a little bit better. I did not wash off my paintbrush, so I'm going to do that real quick. And by adding it onto this towel here, I'm able to save that little bit of ink and then hopefully use it off this paper towel at a later date. I'm also getting it cleaned out pretty good. I can see on the paper towel what's still on there. Don't want it to mix in with my paint when I'm painting. I'm going to put a drop of gold in each of these little areas on here. Nothing perfect, just having fun. I love this paint. It's from Target, and I don't like shopping at Target but I really do like this paint. And I have quite a few of the metallic colors. The rose copper or rose gold, I'm not sure which one that is. And I have copper, and I have steel gray, so it's like a dark gray color. And they're all very pretty, depending on the different uses for them. This gold paint, I find, adds a really nice accent to my work. My cards, ATCs, whatever I'm doing. And I broke off this end of my paintbrush. I was looking at the video I filmed last week and realized, hey, that's that paintbrush that I broke that end off. It's because when I was, I had a light or something over where I was working, and it was just too long. It would hit the light, so it bugged me, so I just broke it off. I don't need it long. The only reason I need the length of a paintbrush barrel is just to curl wings on butterflies or to stir paints, inks, or whatever. There we go. And I want to get some of this off of here. I'm going to put it in one of my composition books for not wasting paint. But I want to leave a little bit on so I can kind of add it to the edges of flower. I'm going to just add a little bit of gold in the center of these flowers in this book that I use for my excess paint, so it's not wasted. And these take some time to get these to where you can actually use the pages for something. And when I'm done, I just scribble it off. And I meant to leave a little bit on, so I'm going to pick a little bit more back up. This is, I'm just going to show you one of my books. This is one of my newer ones. I love the colors here. I love the colors on this one. This is just the excess ink off of a stamp, and then it's picking up wet ink that I have on here. Sometimes I'll dab it with the pages to pick up the ink. This is from my fan brush. I do that with the extra paint on there. And the pages where it has this splotchy look, that's from when I spritz the ink left over on the mat when it's still wet enough. And then I lay it down and mash it, and it picks up the ink. It gives that interesting look and texture. Okay. Alrighty, what I wanted to do was to have a little bit of the gold on here so that I'd be able to flex some of the gold on the ends of the leaves of the flowers. I want to see how it's going to come out. This paint looks like it's kind of dried on there. There we go, that's a little smoother. Not really adding too much, but just enough to give it a bit of a highlight. Okay. Let's put this ink away. I always say ink. Ink and paint to me, basically the same thing, even though they're different. It's just what I use to color with. Okay, and I'm not going to be able to add the thread to this until a little bit later. I do want to see if I can add black Sharpie to the tips of these gold wires for the butterfly's antenna, just to be able to, I can't even see this one here. There we go. I don't know if you can see that, but it does have some color on the end to make it more noticeable. I think I want to add some more color on this. I think I'll use this color. This is called Poppy, but this one is from Americana. This Poppy is different from this one. The colors are similar. This is more of a yellowy orange color, but it has a satin finish. I think it's mostly for like doing furniture and stuff, but I just use it for my crafting. Not sure, the texture on that's a little bit gritty. Let's smooth it out here. Let's color in some of the dots. I think I'll have to pull in some pink as well on here. Yeah, the idea of adding the butterfly was okay, but it just, this particular one is just too plain to actually add much to the card like I'd like for it to. And the word love is not that prominent, so I might go in and paint that, because it just looks like the ink keeps being absorbed into the paper. Actually, I think this color would be pretty to do that, so I think I'll just go ahead and use this one. I don't know why it's all bubbly in there. I've not seen my paints do that before. I know it's because I just shook it. Let's see. That looks better, but still not mixed all the way. I might need to get some little steel balls and put them in my paint jars. I was watching, I can't remember this guy's name. I was looking on YouTube for a certain kind of video. I don't even remember what it was. And he was saying what you do for your paint is just add a marble. And that definitely worked. It just, to me, I was thinking it was a little bit too big. But it works. And if I go over the gold outline, I can always just go ahead and use that gold pen to outline it again. I think this color is a good idea because it's bringing out that word, making it more prominent, which it should be for this card because it's the sentiment. Just hoping my hand doesn't shake too much. And this little paintbrush is, it's pitiful, but it's faithful. The very tip of it, the bristles are curled. Don't know if you can see it. They're kind of like this tool where it's curled. And I have a tendency when I'm washing my paintbrushes to forget that I've put them in the cup, soaking in the water. And so as they sit in that cup of water, the bristles end up curling. But this one is still my favorite one to paint fine lines with. Alrighty, that wasn't too bad. Turned out pretty good considering. Alrighty. Excess paint. And I think I'll add it on this page. Just do some dollops inside the little bits of pink. And try to go around different areas on the page so it's kind of consistent. And then at the end I just kind of scribble, generally up in a corner on the side. Most of the art gets done down here. This is a different book, I believe. This is when I mash the makeup sponges after I've added water. Oh, that's the same book. I have 4 of them. This is my newest. Alright everybody, I'm back. Had to let the battery recharge because it wore down and turned itself off. I just need to finish this. I thought I'd add a little bit of, normally I'd like to add splatter, but there's too much that I would have to kind of cover. I just want to add some drops of red and white paint in a few places. So I'm just going to make a mix mash of some different kind of paint and pick it up with my water brush and then just drop it down carefully. This is some red glitter paint, so it'll be all sparkly. I also wanted to add some red onto the butterfly. Kind of carry the red over into that. Definitely need to get myself a better camera. The one I have is like 7 years old. I got it after I moved to Ohio, and it's been a really good camera, but it's 7 years old. It's kind of worn down, definitely needing to be replaced so I can do more things. Also want to put some bits of white gesso on here. And this has some glitter. I want to do some tiny bits and some bigger bits. And this, I have tried to drain this water brush. There's no water in it. And yet somehow the water keeps coming out of the bristles no matter how much I try to dry it out. I'm going to go ahead and just use a paintbrush since that's going to work better for me. I just got done using it, so need to dry it out. I'll use some tiny dots to kind of make it look like splatter, and some bigger ones to kind of dry like a gem or something. So I live in northern Kentucky, and today it's been a pretty cold day. It's been about 14 degrees. and I think it kind of got it close to 30. Doesn't much feel like it, but I believe that's what it said. My computer isn't working too well right now with, well, I think it's not my computer. I think it's actually the weather channel, weather.com. That's the one that I use all the time. And it loads partly, and then it freezes up my computer. It gives me the frame of the page, but not any of the information like the weather. So, and I believe it is the website that's struggling right now, because even on my cell phone, when I try to bring up weather.com, I get that same thing with it freezing up even on my phone. I'm just trying to get the rest of this off, put it on a page so it's used. And this page is going to be all sparkly. You can see all the glitter. Now I need to get some white gesso. I love splatter on projects. I think it really enhances the art, and the splatter draws your attention to different areas. I'm going to add just a bit of water to that. Even add little bits to my flower. When this dries, then I can add the thread to it, the yarn. Not sure what it is. It looks like yarn, but it's a little bit thicker, so I'm not really sure what it would be called. Alrighty. And that's the end of that. I even keep the bits of gesso and put it in the excess paint, because I like the effect it gets on the art, the paint and the ink as you're doing it. I'm going to go ahead and dry this. I have to be careful because I don't want to further melt the flour. Okay. And I have some tape. I don't know if you guys know Scrapbooking Made Simple or not with Stacy Park. She had a drawing sometime last year, you know, that she takes comments on her YouTube and picks somebody once a week to win, and she calls it Chicken Winner Chicken Dinner. and you know, somebody wins something, and this particular time she was introducing her new tape, which is called Simply Defined, and I got picked, and so they sent me 3 different sizes of tapes. One is the 1 inch by 85 feet, 1/8 inch by 85 feet, and a 1/2 inch by 85 feet, and I just love this tape. And the one I use most is the 1/8, but the tape goes all the way up to 6 inches wide, so if you're doing a project where you want a whole card base covered or whatever, you'd be able to do that, which a lot of people want it that wide for when they do shaker cards and stuff. And I want to cut some tape to put on the back to hold the yarn in place. So I want to have at least 2 pieces. And I'm not sure exactly where I want to put it, so I'm just going to put the tape right here on either end. And this still has a few places that are a little bit wet, so I'm just trying to be careful. And take off the tape. And the Stacy tape is comparable to soup wang as far as the strength and being able to handle heat. And all the other applications you use your soup wang for, you'd be able to do also with this tape. And I was just going to wrap it around this corner and once around this corner. There we go. And then just cut it off. And then I just need to put another piece of paper to back it to make it thicker. And then that one will be done. So this is today's ATC. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching me make it. I hope you guys learned some new things. If you would, I'd appreciate if you'd leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. I'll be working on another ATC, the bubble one that I had started. They're dry now, and so I need to do the bubble ATC for that Marimay's Creative Cafe. B for bubble is one of the prompts. You guys have a lovely day. God bless.